the Boston Celtics, lost against the Indiana Pacers on Wednesday, October 30th. So just a couple of days ago. Indiana began the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead. However, they were unable to hang on to secure the win in your regular time. Celtics surged back. JT forced a pretty crazy three to force the game into overtime, and they ended up losing, unfortunately. So the Pacers ended up beating the Celtics. Now the question is, can the Pacers' style of play be the key to beating the Celtics? We didn't really see the Celtics be challenged really too much in the playoffs last year. But I would say that for what the Pacers were and how young they were, and with not any playoff experience outside of Pascal Siakam, they challenged them as much as they could, almost took that game one, and challenged them game in and game out here and there. Obviously, you look at the box scores, it didn't feel like they were challenged, but you really watch the games and they put up a good fight. So specifically, again, could the Pacers' style of play be the key to beating the Celtics?
I know we want stuff to talk about early in the season, and I get it, but the Pacers are 2-4.
Yep.
Like Tyrese is playing terrible,
Yeah.
and Jason Tatum goes 5 of 18 from the 3-point line.
Yep.
5 of 18 from the 3-point line. Jaylen Brown goes 1 of 11 from the 3-point line. And Peyton Pritchard goes 4 of 11 from the free throw line. Now, I'm not that good at math, but I think that's roughly 9 of 40 out of those guys. Like, come on.
Yeah.
How many times a night is that going to happen? Like, and unfortunately, the Celtics are not breaking the Warriors record. They're not winning 74 games this year.
Right.
It's early in the season. Could this type of offense beat the Celtics in a 7-game series? I'm going to say no, because A, there's only one team out there that has an offense of this caliber right now, and it's the Pacers. And B, the physicality just ramps up so much in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And C, the Celtics don't have their third best player right now.
Yep.
So I would love to debate you on this, but I just don't want to look stupid for the videos later. No, I just, what's
So
going
the
to
trap didn't work.
No, I think
Damn.
what's gonna beat the Celtics is a super high level defensive team that can explode with their scoring. And I don't see that right now in the East.
Right.
I see Minnesota. I see what Ant's doing right now, and that makes me wonder. Obviously, the Shai Thunder haven't lost a game yet, and that's super interesting, even though I don't know if they have enough offensive talent for the explosion. They definitely have it everywhere defensively, but it just seems so often in the playoffs, even though when the defensive stuff is sound, the offensive players just take it to the next level, and the Celtics have a ton of them. So I mean, as we sit now, barring injury, they're very clearly still the favorite for their to go back to back. So I'm not too worried about the Pacers. And we talked about their historic offense in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the offseason, or have we started already? One of our NBA podcasts. It's just,
yeah.
The Celtics still scored 132 points against them. That's going to be the thing against the Pacers. They can't play defense, and it's way too early in the season to look at net ratings or any of that kind of stuff. So I don't even have any of that pulled up because it's way too early. But I just don't think ultimately are the Pacers. Let me ask you this: the shooting performance that just take Pritchard out of it, Tatum and Brown had, is that happening more than one time in a 7-game series? Like one of them's bound to cook at least one night.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty, right? And it doesn't have to be any one of those top 3 guys, right? It also can be Derek White. We've seen Drew Holiday produce offensively when he needs to. 90% of the time he doesn't need to, and that's not his job. But that small 10% of the time he can. I think really the key to this one is Indiana produced a season high in rebounds, 57, and 3-pointers made. And the rebounding, especially the defensive rebounding for Indiana, that is what is key for their offense. If they can't produce at a very high level for their rebounding, they're never going to be able to get their fast break started. They're never going to be able to produce an offense at high speed and high caliber. They're never going to be able to do that. And they're not going to be able to do it if Tyrese Halliburton continues to shoot like a piss poor player. So he needs to really step it up. Indiana needs to continue to produce highly in the rebounding section. When it comes to the Celtics, watching them defensively, it definitely feels like they've taken a small step down. It's there. And if you look at where they're ranked defensively, it's like 12th. We finished third. It's 12th right now. Obviously, there's a lot going on, and I'm going to continue to advocate for more playing time for Luke Cornett, and he did. He started tonight. Al Horford did not play. Queta got a ton of time. I know you love that. So Queta got a ton of playing time tonight. He also got a ton of playing time. He also got a ton of playing time in the last game as well. Put up some, decent performance. Only 2 points, but 9 boards. But he played meaningful minutes, and that's what's important. Again, I'm going to continue to advocate for Luke to start, and I'm going to continue to advocate for Al to just play the most minimal minutes possible right now until you really have to play. I don't want to have to take a rest game 6 games into the season already. If we're getting to that point, I know you're 38, 39 years old. Al Horford is. Let's go ahead and
LeBron's 39.
That's the greatest player of all time. I think it's a little bit different.
Whoa, a little controversial there, huh?
Controversial, stop it.
The Jordan heads are coming for us, bro.
Yeah, well, they can go fucking type it up on Facebook if they can remember how to use it.
Wow, you're calling the Jordan heads boomers.
Yep, I definitely am.
Hey, did you see Nemi? Did you watch the game tonight?
Yeah.
He might have had a dunk and a teabag on a certain guy on that team that doesn't do a nice thing to women, and it was glorious. It was glorious. I was like, that's my boy Queta. He probably doesn't even know,
Yeah. So again, just like you were saying, with the Celtics, it's really early in the season. This type of play is not going to beat them in a 7-game series. We have yet to see what is going to potentially beat them, but I don't think it's anyone in the East. Just like you said, I think at least a finals berth is still looking very, very prominent. It's the teams in the West that look the most competitive right now. But we have to see and we have to keep an eye out for one particular team, and that is going to be the next team that we're talking about. And that has to be.
Did you?
Good.
Before you take it to the next thing, I'll give you one small Celtics criticism. I think they're 24th in the league in rebounding right now. That's not good.
The Celtics are
Mm-mm.
You know what it looks like to me? It's almost, man, it's bad to say. It almost looks lazy sometimes. Like they're genuinely like not trying to go for
Is
the
that
ball.
surprising though? Let's be honest.
At this point in the season, not really. Like
They're gonna cruise.
Yeah, it very much feels like that.
I didn't get to watch the game. I was locked in on the Kings, obviously, like the beam. How did my boy LaMelo look? He dropped a 30 spot. I thought it was interesting. He only had like 3 assists. I'm like, I don't know about that, but
he's looked good for pretty much the entire season up to this point. I really hope. I mean, you and I are both the same way with this NBA or in the NFL. I want these guys to stay healthy, and LaMelo's one of those like high octane, like a lot of potential with LaMelo, with not a lot of it realized because of the injuries that he's had. But he's averaging like 29, 5 boards, 6 assists a game. You want to see those assists a little bit higher than that, but he's played well, man. He's done incredibly well. It's been actually exciting to watch him a little bit. I've been able to catch now 2 games for the Hornets. When it comes to me and watching basketball, I either watch the Celtics or I try to watch an exciting game, and I think that's with most people. If I turn on the game and I'm watching them, shout out to the Warriors fan that's watching right now. I turned on the Warriors versus Blazers like last week, and I turned it on. I watched it for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, wow, this is fucking horrible, and I turned it off. Like I don't like bad basketball, and I'm not saying that about the Warriors specifically, because Buddy Hield's been actually playing pretty damn well, but specifically about the Blazers, if one of the teams is so pissed poor, I'm just gonna shut that shit off like immediately. But the Hornets have been fun, and they've been entertaining at the very least.
Isn't that one of the great things about basketball though? Is I used to get in my car and drive to the Telemus. Kings are gonna lose, but DeMarcus might drop 40. Yep. Kings are gonna lose. It was like, we ain't gonna win, but DeMarcus Cousins might do something crazy. He might score 40 points. He might punch a ref in the face. I'm gonna be entertained tonight. That's the great thing about basketball is it really kind of doesn't matter. Like individual performances are entertaining.
Yep.
So